Okay. After that little warm up, I suppose we can get started. Oh God, my green tea has been steeped too long. Now I'm gonna be crawling up the walls. Okay, so what did I want to do today? I wanted to talk about on my Patreon. I have been asking people what they thought about the tabs, what they thought about the content, and a few people said that they were really that they wanted to see more analysis. They wanted to see, because that's the stuff that got them into my channel, is my critical analysis of roles and actually how to play. And I thought this might be a good time, just to do this stuff more often, to show people kind of how I analyze banjo rolls and banjo tablature, and also just kind of give people an idea of how I go about giving lessons. Because I think it's just really important for people to know how I teach. So that being said, Salt Spring, I've got the tab up here. Salt Spring, I wrote it out. It's got a whole bunch of rolls in it. So if we play this, so that is just kind of confusing. And really, this is actually that whole thing is actually my improvisation. It is. All that's written, I just kind of made up. I would probably do it different every time. But really, I wanted to show you the underlying process that enables me to improvise that. And it comes from this thing, again, that I had to make up. I mean, you can call it a bunch of different things, but I call it de-isorhythmation. Is that a good way to do it? I mean, those of you who have been with me for a while are aware of what isorhythmation is. And isorhythmation is a term that I invented to identify the process of adding every possible 16th note to a phrase. And I guess it's going to be really beneficial for everybody to kind of see how I do that, because it's really the key to bluegrass improv, and I really strongly believe that isorhythmation is the secret to actually playing banjo. And all it is, you just take a simple melody like this, and then you add rolls to it. So what I'm doing there is I'm just adding rolls to this melody. That's basically it. And so I think a huge skill set that is not really talked about is to take something like this and simplify it into something like this. And what I do in my head is I just add rolls to all the simple melody, or likewise, I will take away rolls to reduce what the actual principal melody is. So that being said, the melody, the B part is this. When you add rolls to it, it looks something like this. What's there? It'd be again, I'm just isorhythmating it. I'm just adding rolls to the melody. Okay, so that being said, let's take a look at this. Okay, this first phrase. What's the best way to understand this? So what I do is I like to copy this. I'll put it right here. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out all the notes and just make them open. Right? So now you can see this is the roll. without the notes in it. And if you want to be technical, I don't know how long you guys have been with me, but this roll, it's a Bob Dobalina roll. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob. That's a really classic, Scruggs style roll, but specifically it's middle and then an index forward. So middle finger right there, and then an index forward to follow through, and it does that twice in a row. And so that's how this phrase is isorhythmated. Of course, but you add this. So I just want to show you how to simplify the rolls. All you do is to simplify the roll, we'll go back down here. Here's the roll. All you do is just take out the numbers and replace them with zeros, and then you can kind of better understand what it is. So I'm pretty quickly, just because I do this a lot, I can see that that's an index forward roll, that's an index forward roll. And it's a Bob Dobalina roll because it starts with the middle finger, there's eighth note rest, and then you go into that. Ba ticka baka ticka ba. Happens twice. Okay, cool. Now we go to this one. By the way, all these this is the tab from my second note, thumb or index. Ethan's asked about this one. Definitely a thumb. Okay, cool. Then we're gonna move on to the next measure. How is this isorhythmated? Okay, cool. So this measure 34, the simple melody is just this. It's just that. And I go. So what is that actually? Okay, first thing, I'm just gonna try to like explain how I see things. That right there, square roll, this forward backward roll. That's just how fast I can see it. Square rolls should become pretty obvious to you. Square rolls are it's probably the principal roll in Scruggs style, but again, I'm gonna show you how to simplify it. So we'll put the roll right there. I'm gonna replace this note with a 0 and just delete that one because that's actually a pulled off note. This right there, that should scream forward roll to you. Thumb, oh son of a bitch. That thumb, index, thumb, middle. That makes sense. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. So when I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely a 4-note roll. That's definitely an alternate thumb roll, affectionately referred to as a square roll. This right here, it should scream forward backward roll to you because you can see. Maybe I should do a little roll analysis up here. That's the roll, right? Again, to simplify it, we're just going to make that into a 0, get away the slide. And then you have that guy. I wrote thumb there to make it obvious because this is a variation of this roll. This one, it should just scream forward backward roll to you. Okay, so this right there, that's a thumb forward roll right there. Oh, son of a bitch. Right here, that's a thumb forward roll right there, middle reverse. That's very obviously, and then to finish off, if you want to get a little deeper in the forward backward roll, that's thumb. It's a 4-note thumb forward roll. That's a 4-note middle reverse roll. So any forward backward roll is always constructed of some directional roll followed by an opposite directional roll. So like, I mean, likewise, you could have like and then like this would be a reverse forward roll. You can even have like other kinds of forward backward rolls, like an index forward roll. And then like middle, like you could do thumb reverse if you want to. Like that's one that it's still, this one actually still counts as a forward backward roll. But anyways, that might be a little too much for now. But just the same, I just want you to be able to read this and just see that's very obviously a forward backward roll. And forward backward rolls are kind of they're one of the secrets. So anyways, that's measure 34. That's this measure turned into this. Okay, cool. Next thing. Okay, now we go on to, and then it's like, and I think that much is like up to there. So that's how much space-time that melody takes. Sorry. And I think that this same thing is going to be repeated here. So it happens twice, looks like, just about. Okay, so this thing, what's happening is, head of. So I'm just trying to illustrate my improvisational process. In my head, I will take this and put into this. Okay, so what's happening here? Let's do a little bit of roll analysis. I'm just going to go ahead and take this whole phrase. Okay, so here is the phrase right here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to replace all these are hammer-ons, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and replace all the notes with just zeros, so it's obvious what the roll is. That's a hammer-on, so we'll delete that. That's okay. So now here is the actual roll. Okay, first thing you want to pay attention to is this. It's kind of like a Bob Dobalina because there's an eighth note at the top. And what happens in Scruggs style playing that I've noticed over the years is anytime you see a note that's missing, like usually what that means is it's a really common roll that has a note that has been omitted. Like this, it's like thumb and then thumb two. Like I can say with 100% accuracy, it's a substitution of a square roll. So this could actually be thumb one, thumb two. But instead I'm going like, hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'll repeat that because it's kind of important. The roll, what's written is this, but it's a substitution for this. Hope that makes sense. So anyways, it's basically, I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's a silent square roll. It's a silent square roll. You know, it's like a word with a silent letter. It's kind of like that. And I mean, and actually in actuality, it's this one. But it would be if you had the full A minor chord. Or even reduce that to this. And so these guys would start to look like this, right? But then you just add a little hammer on right there, and you get, you basically get what is happening in the song. Yeah. So I hope that that makes sense. Okay, cool. This next part, so remember the melody is. And we're trying to go. Yeah. So the next thing that happens, it's this piece right here. Well, let me hide those two beats. It's this. And that's just an index and then a thumb forward Dobalina. Just hammering onto the A minor. That's not too bad. If you guys are familiar with the Bob Dobalina roll, that's definitely a Bob Dobalina roll. Okay, cool. Next thing, that to me, it just screams forward backward roll. You know, because I think a more familiar forward backward roll would be this one. That thing right there. But this one, it just starts with a thumb right there. So still the same roll, but the fingers go in a different place. And you add the it's that one right there. You just add a little A minor to it. Yeah, and then you go to like an E minor right here. Okay, this roll I do a lot. Hopefully it doesn't confuse people, but all this one is it's two square rolls. Thumb one, thumb two into thumb one, thumb two. Again, how I tend to operate when I'm playing bluegrass banjo is I do a lot of autopilot with my rolls. And the thing that makes rolls really effective is that you keep the roll the same, but change the strings that they hit. For instance, this roll, it sounds a little disorienting, but it's still thumb one, thumb two, thumb one, thumb two. It's just like going like this on autopilot, and you can make it up as you go. to capture the melody. It's just a square roll. So anyways, that is the phrase that's repeated twice. I'll get rid of that. And then we'll go back. Where's the next? And then here's the next measure. Yeah, so that's basically, that's translating this. Oh wait, you guys can't see that yet. Okay, here's that phrase. That thing. And that basically is just translating this melody into this. Yeah. So, what's happening there? We could simplify the rolls if you want to, or you can just use your imagination and ask yourself, what roll is this? To me, it's very obviously a Bob Dobalina roll. Yeah, thumb 1 2, thumb 1 2. Right here, what roll is that? It should be very obvious. Square roll. What roll is this? Very obviously, square roll. What roll is this? Square roll again. What roll is this? Square roll again. You got to be you get better identifying these things because you see the shapes, you see the directions. This, you see it's alternating the thumb. That note is getting repeated. Thumb 1, thumb 2. We see them in 4-note chunks. Thumb 1, thumb 2. There's a thumb 1, thumb 2. Thumb 1, thumb 2. And the tune plays itself. And this is an isorhythmation of this. Okay, so that's basically the A part. I'll play it for you one more time. Okay, cool. Now, let's go on to the B part. Okay, so what's happening in the B part? The B part's pretty easy. If you look at this section, it's a majority of the same roll. That's not included in the tablature. That one's extra. But basically, you would see that like the 4-note unit is this. This is the roll. And if you want to come with me back up here to better understand what this roll is, it's this roll. And what we'll do is we'll replace these notes with just open strings. And so if you repeat this indefinitely, what roll is that? It's going to look like this, right? And it's going to sound like this. The roll is called an alternate index roll because the index finger is repeated every other note. It's 2 1 thumb 1, 2 1 thumb 1, 2 1 thumb 1. And then when I say 1, I mean the index finger, 2 is the middle finger, and thumb is the thumb. So yeah, 2 1 thumb 1, 2 1 thumb 1. And this roll is really valuable when you want to get melody notes on the downbeats for melodies like this. And if you just do that melody with the roll, you start to get it. So what this whole section is, all it does is this. Fuck. Sorry. So from this thing, basically what it does is it turns this melody into double stops by going. A little cheeky D7 on that last part. And then you add the alternate index roll. If you want to know what this roll is, let's take a look at that. that to me, it's pretty obviously a 4 back roll. If you put this note right here, that's very obviously a 4 back roll. And then right there, a little thumb forward. Not too bad. Okay, cool. So that basically covers up the A part and the B part to this song. Okay, so now, of course, you want to know how the up the neck break goes. This is tablature, all from my Patreon. I guess this is an example. Maybe I'll make this lesson available, and I'll make the tablature and the Salt Spring available for anybody who's not on Patreon, just so you can have a sample of what this tablature is. But I also want to give people an example of how I give lessons and how I kind of understand banjo theory. Because a lot of stuff I had to make up to make sense for myself. So I just want to share that with you. Okay, so what's happening up the neck? It's basically the same melody. Maybe what I should do is I should tab that out. Yeah. Well, yeah, because how I started the lesson is we figured, and then we added rolls to that. So maybe what I can do is I'll just add, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'll just show you how this works. So you got like dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And then something like that, yeah. Yeah, and then we'll go here. Do, 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 do. Yeah. And then this is repeated. And then okay, so I think this is the melody. I don't know if you guys can hear this. So if you can reduce melodies to something like this that's really simple, you'll be able to add rolls to it and be able to improvise in a bluegrass context like a macho man. You know what I'm saying? So here is the melody up the neck. So we learned it down the neck. You want to translate that simple melody up the neck, not necessarily with all the rolls and all the fucking licks, but just a little more simple. And then you add rolls to it, it starts sounding something like this. Okay, cool. So that's the melody like that. And remember, I'm trying to show you a process of how I improvise banjo and how you can like make this stuff up. The key is being able to find melodies in a simple way. You want to take out all the licks, you want to take out all the rolls, and you want to find what is the simple melody. And once you can latch onto that simple melody, you can start adding rolls and you will sound relevant. Anytime you just play the melody, even if you suck, if you just like go into a jam and just play this, people are gonna give you more props than like you like playing like, and you'll sound like a confused young banjo player, you know. And I've been there. There's and this, I don't want to say there's no shame in it because there should be shame in that. If you can play the melody, people will like you. That's just how it fucking works, dude. If you go in there and you play the melody, you'll just be relevant to the music and people will treat you differently. People will back you up differently. Because it's clear that you're playing something that's relevant to the situation at hand. You don't need all the licks. You don't need to show off. If you can just play the melody, you'll be good. And I'm trying to show you the process in my mind of how I go ahead and simplify melodies, right? And then go and like make melodies complicated with rolls. So now let's do that part. Because if you can play the melody and then add rolls, then you become a hot shot. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Is that the first one? Yeah, here we go. Measure 65. Okay, so here's how it starts. So now we have to make... And I got... It's actually the same roll. I mean, you can simplify this. Does this make sense that this is an index forward roll? I mean, if I delete that, this will probably make more sense that it's a Bob Dabalina, like middle and then index forward. That's the thing that's going on. And then, but I wrote in like a little hammer-on. It's the same roll 2 times in a row, but the melody note changes from beat 1 and beat 3. So hopefully that's not too much considering we just did some roll analysis. And then here we got some eighth notes with some double stops. This thing. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Then it's not really a roll thing, but all you're doing is like, that's the melody, and you're going for more power. And then here you got kind of like a Bob Dabalina, but actually has a double stop. Again, you can identify that. What roll does it start on? What direction does it go? For a majority of my Patreon stuff, I'm trying to just teach people just to do some kind of forward roll. The backward rolls, they'll happen. Yeah, but that, you just clearly see that's an index forward roll. We call it an index forward roll because it starts on index roll, but it's got a little Bob Dabalina right there. Okay, next. What's happening here? Looks like a silent roll to me. What roll is that? That's another roll that you should really be aware of. It's that's, I mean, can you name what that is? Let's go up here. If we have this roll here, how do we figure out what roll it is? Can we go like this? Okay, cool. Now that we have it like that, what roll is that? Does this sound familiar? If it doesn't sound familiar, we're in trouble. What if I go like this? Oops. What do I do with this? Does it sound familiar? Yes, that's the Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. Okay? So what you can do with that Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll, when you're up here, instead of going like... You can play... That's like pure Foggy Mountain Breakdown. That's all Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. But anyways, you can do a little titty twister lick. And then like get out of it somehow. But anyways, this is basically like, and then remember we were talking about silent rolls? Boom, you add it right there. That's another Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. Yeah, that's kind of how it works, dude. You just like find out your note. Add the Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll to it. And it just works. So anyways, learn to see the roll. It's Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. That's how this thing is isorhythmated. I'm actually adding rolls here. Maybe how I played it. It's a silent roll. Let's see, what would the roll actually be? I mean, you could do it like that, like... So now you see what I did is I forced a Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll there, and then even here you can actually force another one. You know what I mean? So now it's one Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. You can force it there. Boom. Another Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. Boom. That's another Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll into another Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. So you can just purely isorhythmate melodies with the Foggy Mountain Breakdown roll. So now it's gonna sound like. but I mean, but the way I did it is a little different. But just so you can understand the Foggy Mountain process here. Well, let me go back down. So now I think this is what I originally wrote, and it's like this. You're saying the same melody, but you just kind of make up the roll. As long as you mostly do Foggy Mountain, you'll be good. Okay, and then when you get into this thing, that's a straight up lick. You know what I mean? Like there's no way around that. That whole thing right there, that's just a lick. Yeah, and it's a hot lick, but it's kind of outside the scope of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. But if you want to see how I think about it, boom, that's a thumb reverse. That right there, that's kind of an alternate index roll right there. This one, middle reverse. This right there, alternate index. But also to look at like the directions of the rolls. That's a middle reverse. That's a pivot note that leads you into thumb forward, middle reverse, thumb forward, or thumb reverse. And then right there you have a middle reverse. Again, how this roll nomenclature works is you just say the finger that it starts on and the direction. That's it. So you can like analyze it like that. That's a middle reverse. You can look at it like that. That's a thumb reverse. Or look at it like that. That's a middle reverse. Or you look at it like that. That's kind of like an alternate index because the index finger will be repeated. Hopefully this isn't too much jargon and you guys are getting an understanding of what's happening. And then, yeah, this thing repeats itself. The same thing. And then the B part, it looks like the B part, I just play it the same way. Again, with the alternate index roll. Okay, cool. So now let's start talking about the backup, because the backup is, honestly, I think if I were a young banjo player and I saw the backup to the stuff that I'm putting on my Patreon, I think this stuff would be the most beneficial to show people kind of how to improvise Scruggs style. Because now I'm not taking a break. I'm not taking a lead. What I'm trying to do is just like support the fucking slap ass bass, yo, or the fiddle player or whatever. But this thing is sounding like this. So that's the first 8 bars of my backup. Okay, what's going on here? Boom. This should all like scream very loudly to you. What roll is this? It's a thumb and then a thumb forward dobalina. What roll is this? Again, a thumb and then a thumb forward dobalina. You can always play Bob dobalina rolls in Scruggs style banjo. It just works. It has to do with like the tempo thing. If you're playing things that are too fast where the 16th notes don't go, it's like forget about it. But in this case, for bluegrass, for good banjo tempos, Bob Dobalinas always work. When I say Bob Dobalina, watch the video. But this is Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob. Okay, cool. So we got a Bob Dobalina right there, thumb and then a double thumb forward. Right there, again, a thumb and a double thumb forward. What roll is this right here? You guessed it, thumb and a double thumb forward. Okay, cool. What roll is this right here? Forward, backward roll. Maybe it would be more obvious if it was like this. Like that. Maybe it'd be more obvious if it was like that, but it's not. It's like that. Whoops. Where do we go? Man, this fucking program sucks sometimes. Okay, here we are. Yeah. Anyways, a really good roll is this one. If you delete this, this is like a Kristen Scott Benson roll. That roll drives. That's a good one. Okay, cool. What happens here? What roll is that? Square roll. What roll is this? Square roll. Again, same roll happening on two different sets of strings. And then that's the little jam buster right there. That's an alternate index roll. And then another square roll. So So this measure right here is it's 2 square rolls, an alternate index, and then a square roll. And you can hear how it has this really nice sound. That's a good one. Okay, this right here, that's forward backward roll. Yeah, and then it goes into a double square roll again. We kind of went over that already. And it looks like measure 93 is the same as 91. Again, that's a forward backward roll with a little substitution note right there. Still a forward backward roll into a double square roll. Okay, and this right here, again, thumb and the thumb forward dobalina. Here you kind of have a forward backward roll, but it actually goes into a forward. It's like a forward backward and then forward. That's kind of an exception because this roll itself is an alternate index roll, but it has a forward roll right there. And this right here, this one is a pretty interesting roll because it's actually an inversion of a forward backward roll. Yeah. It's actually a reverse forward roll. Okay, moving on. Let's see what this is. Okay, cool. So, what's happening here? Basically, like square roll, alternate index roll, square roll. It has that same feel as this one. This is a little irregular because I do a pinch right there. But you could actually like argue that that's actually a silent square roll. And then this guy, obviously a forward backward, and then obviously a forward backward. That's not too bad. This one we already kind of did. Square roll, alternate index, square roll. Yeah, get this one. Forward backward roll into a double square roll, not too bad. That one is square roll into a forward backward. That's a pretty good one. Some sweet rolls going on there. This one, boom, forward backward roll into a double square. I honestly think this little that double square roll right there is very, very nice. Yeah, I love rolls. Okay, cool. Boom. Bob Dobalina. And again, we already kind of went over this one. Bob Dobalina into it's kind of like a deceptive forward backward roll that ends with a forward roll into this reverse forward roll. Not a forward backward, but a backward forward. Okay, and then this lick is actually pretty important for anybody who wants to go to C. There are other ways that... I mean, I think it would have been better actually like this, but that's just not how I tabbed it out or how I played it. Again, right there, should scream that's a forward roll, and this thing, again, like a fucking square roll. Square roll, and then this is kind of like a silent square roll, right? Thumb one, thumb two, then thumb one, thumb two. But because I'm going to a chord in the next measure, It's missing its last note. Okay, so now there's just some chordal stuff. No rolls. Maybe it's outside of the scope of this lesson. Anyways, guys, I'll leave it at that. Do you have any questions? If not, I'm going to edit this down and take out the filler. But I want to thank you guys all for listening. And I want to just show you how I teach, how I analyze, because I am looking for some students. So holler at your boy if you're interested in lessons. And I want to post this on my Patreon. I'll probably make this a free... I'll probably make the Salt Spring video, the Salt Spring Patreon page, Salt Spring Patreon content, the Salt Spring Patreon post free. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll get started on this puppy. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.